how to never run out of things to say. Did you know the average person speaks around 16,000 words per day? Yet when it matters most, we freeze. Conversations stall. Awkward silence creeps in. Why does that happen? And more importantly, how do you stop it? Most people think great talkers are just born that way, but that's not true. Conversations aren't random. They follow patterns. And once you understand those patterns, knowing what to say next becomes effortless. I know what you might be thinking. That sounds great, but what if I'm just naturally bad at talking? Or what if I try and it is still awkward? That's exactly why I'm giving you 11 strategies. Real, tested ways to keep any conversation flowing. Not weird tricks, not memorized scripts, but actual strategies that work whether you're talking to a stranger, a friend, a crush, or even someone who gives you nothing to work with. By the end of this, you won't just know what to say, you'll feel calm, in control, and ready for any conversation. Whether you want deeper friendships, effortless small talk, or confidence in any social setting, it all starts here. Chapter 1. How to never run out of things to say. The layering effect explained. Most people think great conversations just flow. But here's the truth. Every conversation follows a hidden structure. And once you see it, you'll never run out of things to say again. Think about it. Ever notice how small talk leads to deeper topics, but not all at once? There's a pattern, a rhythm, and when you understand it, you can guide any conversation effortlessly. It's called the layering effect. Conversations move in layers, facts, then opinions, then feelings. People don't jump straight to deep emotions with strangers. They start with safe, surface-level facts. If that flows naturally, they open up with opinions. Only when they feel truly comfortable do they share their feelings. Here's how to use it. If someone talks about their job, don't just ask what they do. Ask why they chose it. If they give an opinion, dig deeper. That's interesting. What makes you say that? Every layer builds trust and keeps the conversation alive. Most people get stuck because they stay at the surface. Push beyond that, and you'll create deeper, more meaningful connections. Chapter 2. The Yes and Rule. The secret to conversations that never die. Most conversations die for the same reason. And surprisingly, it's not because you ran out of things to say. It happens way before that. In fact, you might be the one killing the conversation without realizing it. Here's what I mean. Ever tell someone a story and get a flat response? You say, "I went hiking this weekend," and they just nod. Nice. And that's it. Dead air. Now you have to come up with something else to say. But why? Why does this happen? Because most people don't know the yes and rule. The people who are never boring, the ones who can make any conversation flow, do one thing differently. Instead of shutting down momentum, they keep it going. Think about improv comedians. They never say, "No, that's not funny." They take whatever is thrown at them and build on it. That's why their scenes never stall. Conversations work the same way. So how does this actually work? Simple. First, they accept what's said. That's the yes. Then, they add something new. That's the and. Here's how you apply it. Next time someone shares something, don't just react. Expand. If they say, "I went hiking," don't say "cool." Say, "No way, where was it?" Or, "How'd you get into that?" Chapter 3. The Spotlight Effect. How to be the most engaging person in the room. You've been lied to. You don't need to be interesting to be a great conversationalist. You don't need the perfect story, the funniest joke, or the most exciting life. In fact, you could say almost nothing and still be the most engaging person in the room. How? Curiosity. But not just any curiosity. There's a way to do this that most people completely miss. Think about this. Have you ever met someone who made you feel like the most fascinating person alive? They didn't just ask you questions. They made you want to answer. But why? What were they doing differently? They were using the spotlight effect. It works like this. Instead of asking, "What do you do?" ask, "What's something exciting you're working on?" Instead of, "How was your day?" ask, "What was the best part of your day?" See what happens? Their brain wakes up. They lean in, and before you know it, they are doing all the talking. So stop trying to be interesting. Be curious. The rest takes care of itself. Chapter 4. The hidden trigger for connections. Ever met someone who instantly made you feel comfortable? You couldn't explain why, but within seconds the conversation just clicked. And then there's the opposite. A conversation that feels off, like you're speaking different languages, even though the words make sense. What's happening? What makes one conversation flow and another feel forced? Here's the truth. Connection isn't random. It's triggered by something hidden. The mirror effect. It's why you feel drawn to people who share your vibe, and why someone who talks too fast, too slow, or too loud can feel off without you knowing why. Did you know you can control this? People naturally feel connected to those who match their energy. So the next time you talk to someone, subtly match their tone, pace, and body language. If they're excited, dial up your energy. If they're calm, slow it down. Don't copy, just adjust. Try it in your next conversation. Watch how quickly they relax. They won't know why, but they'll feel it. Chapter 5. The Question Trap. Why some conversations die instantly. There's a simple mistake that kills more conversations than anything else. And chances are, you're making it without realizing. Ever ask someone a question and get a one-word answer? How was your weekend? Good. Do you like your job? Yeah. Been busy? A little. Why does this happen? Why do some people open up while others shut down? It all comes down to how you use questions. Most people ask speed bump questions. They're like small roadblocks that halt conversations instantly. But great conversationalists? They use springboard questions, the kind that launch the conversation forward. Here's how you can do it too. Instead of asking, "Did you have a good weekend?" you ask, "What was the best part of your weekend?" Instead of, "Are you busy with work?" you say, "What's been keeping you busy lately?" See the difference? One shuts the door, the other opens it wide. But have you also noticed that some conversations die the second you ask a question? Chapter 6. How to stop killing the conversation before it starts. You're trying to be engaging, but instead of opening up, the other person shrinks. Short answers, awkward pauses. Suddenly, you're carrying the whole conversation. Why does this happen? Aren't questions supposed to keep things flowing? Here's the problem. When someone hears, "So, what do you do?" their brain doesn't just retrieve an answer, it evaluates. What should I say? Will this sound impressive? Will they judge me? In other words, questions people on the spot, which makes them freeze. That's why you should use the drop and hook method. Instead of asking, "Seen any good movies lately?" say, "I just watched this insane thriller last night. One of the best I've seen in years." Instead of, "What do?" say, "I love meeting people who are into different careers. Always makes for good stories." Hear the difference? No pressure, no interrogation, just momentum. Want effortless conversations? Stop making people work for answers. Drop something interesting, and let them chase the hook. Chapter 7. How to always know what to say. The average person speaks 16,000 words a day, yet somehow, when a conversation stalls, your mind goes completely blank. Why does this happen? How can you have thousands of words at your disposal and still not know what to say next? Most people think good conversationalists have better topics. They don't. They have a better way of seeing the world. It's called the OAE technique: observation, association, expression. First, observe. What's happening around you? The atmosphere, the energy, the details most people ignore. Next, associate. What does it remind you of? A memory, a thought, a connection? Finally, express. Say it out loud. No filtering, no second guessing. Example, you're in a cafe. Most people say nothing. Instead, you think, "This place smells like my grandmother's kitchen." Boom. You've got something real to say. Try it. Pick something around you right now. Observe, associate, express. Let's see what happens. Chapter 8. How to make any topic interesting. Some people can make anything sound interesting. Others could be talking about skydiving and still be boring. Why? It's not what they're saying. It's how they say it. Most people treat conversation like reporting facts. "I went to this new restaurant." I watched a movie last night. Flat, empty, nothing to grab onto. But great conversationalists, they inject perspective. It's called the framing effect. The way you present something changes how people react to it. Instead of saying, I went to a new restaurant, say, I just had the best burger of my life, and I don't even like burgers. Instead of, I watched a movie, say, I thought it was going to be terrible, but it actually blew me away. See the difference? Now there's emotion, curiosity, a reason to engage. A topic isn't boring. The way it's framed makes it boring. Change the frame and the conversation opens up. Let's cover part 2 on how to become even more engaging. Chapter 9, the perspective shift. The key to being memorable. Why do some people's words pull you in while others feel like background noise? What makes someone instantly engaging, even when they're talking about something simple? It's not the topic, it's the personal touch. Most people talk in neutral statements. That coffee shop is nice. That movie was good. But great conversationalists don't just state facts, they reveal something about themselves. It's called the perspective shift. Instead of just describing something, they add how they think, feel, or notice it. I think this might be my new favorite coffee shop. I felt like that movie completely changed my perspective on time. I noticed the actor did something subtle in that scene. Did you catch that? See the difference? Now it's personal. Now it invites engagement. When you add even a small piece of yourself, conversations don't just continue, they become memorable.
Chapter 10. The Invitation Method.
So why is it that some people talk about their passions, and it's fascinating, while others make it unbearable? Most assume the problem is talking too much. It's not. The real issue? They talk in a way that pushes people out instead of pulling them in. It's as follows. Ever heard someone say, I love hiking, and stop there? Or, I'm really into psychology, without expanding? It leaves nothing to grab onto. The conversation dies in their hands. There's a fix. I call it the invitation method. Instead of dropping a passion like a fact, connect it to the other person. I got into hiking because I love that sense of escape. Do you ever get that with anything? It shifts the focus. Now it's a shared conversation, not a one-sided monologue. Chapter 11. Annihilating the fear of silence. Something weird happens when a conversation goes quiet. Your heart speeds up. Your brain panics. You feel this need to say something, anything, just to make it stop. But here's the thing. The best conversationalists, they don't rush to fill the gaps. They know something most people don't. And before I tell you what that is, think about this. Who's usually the most confident person in the room? The one talking the most? Or the one who doesn't need to? Here's the truth. Confident people take up space. Physically, sure, but also in conversations. They don't treat silence like dead air. They use it. Silence isn't empty. It's power. It's the pause before a punchline, the breath before a big reveal. So try this. Let the silence sit. Don't fill it. Because when you do, something fascinating happens. They will fill the gap. You've taken the first step. This next video reveals the crucial next step to feeling fully free to say what you want, when you want, without overthinking. Click and see for yourself.